Hey guys, today we wake up in a moment that already holds all the potential you need to rewrite your story. You open your eyes as soft light filters through the curtains, the world hushed and waiting for action. But too often, that precious pause becomes a trap. You roll over, you reach for your phone, and let the morning slip through your fingers like sand. That ends now. Because when you wake up with purpose, every breath, every heartbeat, every minute counts. Imagine leaping from your bed with intention, as though your life depends on it, because it does. This simple shift rewires your mindset, rewinds the clock, and hands you back the hours you've been giving away without thought. You don't need perfect conditions, you need decision. Plain and simple. Today, not tomorrow. You reclaim your time. Today, you choose action over apathy. Today, your mornings become your greatest ally in building discipline and rewriting what's possible. Let's dive in. From the instant your alarm sings, you land your feet on the floor, not by accident, but by choice. You don't groan into the pillow or swipe away the noise. You sit up, plant your feet, and feel the floor beneath you, solid, real. The first proof that you're fully awake and fully alive. That decision to rise is a statement. My time matters. It's a small act with massive power. When you claim your mornings, you claim your life. As you stand and stretch, notice how your mind pivots. Instead of drifting back into yesterday's worries or tomorrow's to-dos, you grip the present moment. You feel the air in your lungs. You feel the ground under your toes. That awareness snaps your brain into focus faster than any cup of coffee ever could. Wake up with purpose means your body and mind align immediately. You're not starting the day behind. You're starting at the front of your own race. Think of time as currency, your most valuable resource. Would you give away your last dollar to someone who hasn't earned it? Then why hand over your last hour to distractions? Every minute you waste is a minute your future self can never get back. When you wake with purpose, you treat time as sacred. You protect it. You invest it. You don't let it slip away into mindless scrolling or random chores that don't matter. To cement this habit, ask yourself one question the moment you open your eyes. What am I building today? Not what's on my to-do list or what feels easy, but what am I creating that my future self will thank me for? That question shifts everything. It transforms vague intentions into a mission. You're not just going through motions, you're constructing progress, brick by brick, habit by habit. Next, visualize what your ideal morning looks like. See yourself moving deliberately, drinking water to wake your cells, jotting down your focus for the day. Taking 3 deep breaths before engaging the world. Picture the energy you want to carry. Calm confidence, fierce determination, clear clarity. Hold that image for a moment, then leap into action. Write down your top priority before you check a single notification. A quick line in your journal or a note on your phone. Keep it simple. Build discipline by doing X. Or take one small step toward Project L. That pen to paper moment transforms a dream into a commitment. It triggers your subconscious to protect that promise. Suddenly, every choice you make aligns with that one priority. Resist the pull of routine and sameness. When you wake up on autopilot, your mind follows old patterns, yawns, excuses, drift. But when you wake up with purpose, you break that loop. You send a message to your brain. We're not playing games today. We're here to win. Even on days when motivation is low. Purpose fuels the motion. You don't wait for energy. You generate it by acting. Feel the power in this simple act. The moment you choose purpose, you rewire your neural pathways. You reinforce a new identity, one of someone who shows up, someone who respects their time, someone who commands their day instead of being a passenger. That identity shift compounds over weeks. Your mornings become a fortress of willpower, protecting you from distraction and doubt. And with that decision locked in, your mornings become the foundation for everything else. Your focus, your energy, your confidence. When you rise with intent, every habit that follows finds fertile ground to grow. Momentum builds, discipline cements. You don't just start the day, you own it. You roll out of bed with your purpose in place. Now don't let the world steal your focus before you even get started. Before your phone lights up, before your inbox beckons, you carve out a few breath-filled minutes to plan your day. That pause is your secret weapon. You sit upright, breathe in, breathe out, and ask, what must get done today to move me forward? In those first moments, you map your priorities and shield your mindset from every distraction that's lying in wait. Most people wake up and immediately react. Notifications, news alerts, social updates. Before long, they're swimming in everyone else's agenda. Meanwhile, the important work, the work that fuels your purpose, gets shoved onto tomorrow's to-do list, where it lives in limbo. But when you plan your day first, you reclaim your schedule. You decide which battles you'll win and which you'll ignore. You draw a line in the sand around your time and say, this is my mission. Here's how you do it. Reach for your journal or a blank page in a notebook. No screens allowed. Write down your top 3 priorities. No more. Keep it short. Maybe one is finish outline for project. Another is deep work and client presentation. The third is 30-minute workout to energize body and mind. By limiting yourself to 3, you force clarity. You refuse to dilute your energy with a laundry list of half-hearted tasks. Next, assign each priority a time block in your calendar. Block 60 minutes in the morning for your deepest work, when your brain is sharpest. Block 30 minutes after lunch for follow-up and correspondence. Block an hour in the late afternoon for creative brainstorming or skill building. Then set up buffer slots around each block. 10-minute breaks to reset, hydrate, and breathe. That structure becomes your backbone, your armor against chaos. When distractions pop up, a ping from messaging apps, a text from a friend, a tempting email, you see them outside your scheduled time. You know you'll address them in their slot. So you don't have to react immediately. That mental permission is liberating. It frees your focus and reduces anxiety because you no longer feel like you're neglecting urgent demands. You're in control. As you write, speak your priorities out loud. Today, I build discipline by completing the outline. Today, I build momentum by diving into deep work. Today, I build health by exercising. Hearing your own voice reinforce the plan strengthens your commitment. It imprints the intention onto your subconscious. You're not just thinking about these goals. You're declaring them. Now pause and visualize yourself executing those blocks. See yourself at your desk at 8 a.m., headphones on, eliminating every distraction, fully immersed. Imagine at 1 p.m. lacing up shoes, feeling the burn in your muscles, clearing mental fog. Visualize at 3 p.m. returning to your notebook, jotting down fresh ideas in a crisp and focused state. That mental rehearsal primes your brain for action. Don't skip the end-of-day review. Part of planning is adjusting. Each evening, glance back at what you scheduled and mark off what you completed. Note any tasks that slipped, then add them to tomorrow's list at the top. That feedback loop keeps your plan honest. It reminds you where your time actually went and helps you calibrate for realistic scheduling. This routine isn't complicated, but it demands discipline. It won't feel natural at first. Your mind will chafe against the structure. Notifications will scream for attention. Your brain will conjure excuses. Just a quick peek, or I need to check this. Don't cave. Each time you resist, you build a mental muscle that grows stronger. And soon, your mornings won't be a blind scramble. They'll be a decisive strike. You'll enter every day with a roadmap for progress instead of a list of distractions. Your work will feel purposeful. Your energy will align with your goals. You'll glide through challenges because you always know your next move. Remember, you plan before you check your phone. You plan before the world demands your attention. You plan because your focus is your superpower. So, tomorrow morning, grab your notebook. Write down your top 3 keys and top 3 priorities. Schedule your time blocks and set your day in motion. That simple act will transform reaction into action and intention into achievement. You've mapped your day and claimed your time. Now it's time to command your inner dialogue. Every moment, your mind whispers stories about who you are and what you can do. If you let it run unchecked, that voice becomes your reality. But when you talk to yourself like someone you respect, everything changes. You replace doubt with encouragement, criticism with constructive guidance, and uncertainty with unwavering support. Stop for a second and notice how you speak to yourself right now. Are you generous and kind, or harsh and impatient? Do you catch yourself saying, "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess up" the moment you make a mistake? That voice, call it your inner coach, can either lift you higher or drag you down. You wouldn't let a friend talk to you that way, so why allow it in your own head? Respectful self-talk isn't about fluff or forced positivity. It's about accuracy, empathy, and honesty. When you stumble, you don't shame yourself, you guide yourself. When you hesitate, you don't scold, you support. Imagine someone you admire, someone who sees your potential and speaks with kindness even when you fail. That's the voice you want inside your mind. Here's how you do it. First, become your own observer. Throughout the day, pause and listen to your thoughts. Don't judge the thought itself. Just note it. I'm too tired. This is too hard. I'll never figure this out. Write each one down in a journal or a notes app. That act of catching thoughts pulls them out of automatic mode and arms you with awareness. Next, transform each negative thought into a respectful statement. If you catch, "I'm too tired," reframe it as, "I'm feeling tired, and I can rest after I push through this short task." If you hear, "This is too hard," change it to, "This challenge is tough, but I've overcome hard things before and can do it again." If you think, "I'll never figure this out," flip it to, "Well, I don't know this yet, but I'm learning and improving every day." Yaki, these reframes aren't magic words, they're mental training. Every time you replace a limiting belief with a respectful reassurance, you strengthen a new neural pathway. Over time, your default voice shifts from critic to coach. You build mental muscle that stands firm under pressure instead of buckling. Make it practical. Pick 3 core affirmations tied to your priorities. Maybe it's, "I am disciplined," "I learn quickly," Or I handle challenges with calm confidence. Place them on sticky notes around your workspace or phone wallpaper. When you feel doubt creeping in, read your affirmations aloud. That audible reminder anchors you back in respect and belief. Practice speaking to yourself in second person. You've got this. You've handled worse. You deserve your own support. Psychologists call this step back technique. It creates gentle distance between I and the thought, making it easier to guide yourself objectively. It's like coaching yourself through a tough workout. You wouldn't yell insults at your legs when they burn. You'd say, "Push through. You're stronger than you know." Now let's tackle self-criticism head on. When you catch a harsh thought, "You're an idiot for missing that deadline," stop immediately. Take 3 deep breaths. Then ask yourself, am I saying this to someone I respect? Of course not. So rephrase kindly. I missed that deadline, but I can learn from it and adjust to my schedule to stay on track next time. That switch repairs your trust in yourself instead of eroding it. Remember, respect doesn't ignore mistakes. It acknowledges them without judgment. It focuses on solutions, not shame. It says, I see the error. I understand why it happened. Here's what I'll do differently tomorrow. That constructive approach accelerates growth far more reliably than guilt ever could. Build a nightly ritual around self-talk. Before bed, write down 1 victory and 1 challenge from your day. For each, speak to yourself with kindness. You did well when you stayed focused, and tomorrow you'll handle that challenge better because you now know what to look out for. This reflection cements progress and gently prepares you for improvement. As you go through your day, be your own advocate. In moments of stress, place a hand on your heart, close your eyes, and use a calm voice. I am capable. I am learning. I will keep going. That physical gesture paired with supportive words creates an anchor, a habit your mind associates with reassurance. Contrast the old voice and the new. The critical voice shrinks you, stalls your progress, and keeps you stuck. The respectful voice empowers you, fuels resilience, and propels you forward. Which one do you want writing your story? You have the power to choose. If negative self-talk snowballs, schedule a self-talk intervention. Take 5 minutes. Sit quietly and map out the most common negative loops you run. Then design precise reframes, like editing a script. Whenever your mind plays the old reel, you hit play on the new one. This level of intentionality rewires habits faster than casual correction. Don't underestimate the ripple effect. As you honor yourself with respectful speech, you start expecting respect from others. You set clearer boundaries. You refuse criticism that feels destructive. You gravitate toward relationships that echo your new inner tone. Your external world transforms in harmony with your internal shift. This is more than self-help jargon. It's neuroscience. Every time you interrupt a negative thought and replace it with a supportive one, you weaken the old synaptic pathway and strengthen a new one. After enough repetitions, your brain defaults to respect. Negative self-talk becomes a distant echo instead of the loudspeaker it once was. Challenge yourself to a self-talk detox for 1 week. Every time you catch a limiting thought, consciously reframe it. Keep a tally. Aim for at least 20 reframes per day. Celebrate at the end of each day by acknowledging how many times you shifted your dialogue. That visible progress reinforces commitment and makes the habit stick. Over time, You won't need to tally or remind yourself. The respectful voice becomes the automatic narrator of your life. You'll walk into difficult conversations with calm conviction. You'll tackle new challenges with silent encouragement instead of internal sabotage. You'll build confidence from the inside out, grounded in the steady support of your own words. When you talk to yourself like someone you respect, you become someone worth respecting. Your mindset rewires itself around kindness, clarity, and unshakable self-trust. That inner coach then guides every choice, every action, and every step you take toward your next level. You know that moment when a new idea or task appears and your mind whispers, "Not now, or maybe later." That split second is the gateway between stagnation and progress. Hesitation is the silent thief of dreams, a voice convincing you to delay until the right moment arrives. But the right moment rarely knocks twice. Your future self depends on how you act in that fleeting instance. When delay creeps in, that's your signal to step forward. Imagine standing at a doorway. Behind you lies comfort. Ahead, uncertainty. Your mind argues for safety. "I'll start tomorrow. I need more time, huh? I'm not ready." But tomorrow is a mirage, always just out of reach, and readiness is an illusion. Growth demands movement despite fear. So in the first few seconds, before your excuses gain traction, you choose action. You step through the doorway, even if you can't see the end of the hallway. Here's the rule. Act within 5 seconds of the prompt, or your brain will talk you out of it. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That simple countdown interrupts the hesitation loop and then primes your body to move. Whether it's opening your journal, pushing off for a set of push-ups, or typing the first line of an email, those initial actions break the spell of delay. It's not about perfection. It's about momentum. Hesitation disguises itself as logic. "I'm tired. I need coffee first. Let me plan another minute." But beneath that logic lies avoidance. Recognize the lie. When you feel the pull to postpone, pause and label it. This is hesitation. Naming it robs it of power. Then counteract with a micro move. Stand up, stretch, or open a new document. That small motion sends a clear message to your brain. We act now. Every act of immediate action builds a neural habit. Your brain learns that impulses lead to movement, not inaction. Over time, those neural pathways strengthen, and hesitation loses its grip. Before long, taking action becomes your default, automatic response, just as natural as breathing. You transform from someone who waits for permission into someone who grants it to themselves. Consider your morning routine. Instead of lingering under covers, when the alarm interrupts your sleep, sit up instantly. Feet hit the floor. No snooze, no scrolling, just rise. Because the first moment sets the tone for the rest of your day. That single choice echoes. I am in control. I soothe when needed. Each subsequent decision, from making your bed to starting your deep work, becomes easier because you've beaten hesitation at its own game. When a daunting project lands on your desk, don't stall by researching endlessly. Instead, open a blank page and write one sentence. Don't debate the opening line. Just type it. That fragment of progress ignites momentum. Before you know it, you're immersed in flow. Sentences stacking, ideas clicking. Starting, even imperfectly, is the cornerstone of artistry and achievement. Use physical triggers to launch your responses. For example, keep a water bottle by your workspace. The instant you catch yourself hesitating, grab it, unscrew the cap, and take a sip. That simple gesture jolts your system, shifting neural focus from avoidance to engagement. It's a bodily reminder that you're alive and ready to act. Beware the 5-minute trap. You tell yourself you'll just do 5 minutes of reading or brainstorming, only to find yourself stuck in avoidance for hours. Instead, promise action with no time limit. I will start now. Once you begin, momentum carries you beyond any time constraint. You discover that the hardest part was breaking inertia, not completing the task. Let's tackle excuses head on. When I don't have time creeps in, ask, what can I do in the next 2 minutes? Something will fit. A brief outline, a phone call, a stretch. 2 minutes of progress beats 2 hours of planning. And that tiny win fuels confidence to tackle larger chunks later. Every time you win against hesitation, celebrate it. Acknowledge the micro-victory. I chose action. Say it out loud. That recognition reinforces the habit. Soon, your mind will start seeking action because it craves the positive reward of completion, however small. Remember, action is the antidote to doubt. When you act, uncertainty fades and insights emerge. You replace questions with answers. You replace dread with momentum. Immediately responding to your impulses rewires your identity. You become someone who follows through, someone whose word to themselves is unbreakable. This principle applies to every area of your life. If you feel resistance before a workout, tie your shoelaces on the spot. If you hesitate to reach out for help, draft a quick message. If you stall on difficult conversations, stand up and walk toward the person, literally closing the distance. Movement fosters connection and progress. To anchor this habit, integrate trigger action plans. Identify potential hesitation points, checking email, starting tasks, difficult calls, and prepare a script. When I feel like delaying, I will action. Marandry, for example. When I open my laptop, I will immediately write my first bullet point before checking anything else. Scripts automate the response. As you practice, observe the transformation. In the past, you may have let hours slip through indecision. Now, hours become a series of purposeful steps. Tasks that once loomed large now appear as simple actions. Click, type, call, move. You've dismantled the illusion of overwhelm by acting within seconds. Notice how your confidence swells. Each instance of courage, choosing action over delay, cements self-trust. You prove to yourself, I can rely on me. Oh, that trust becomes the bedrock of self-esteem. You no longer fear uncertainty because you know your response will always be movement. Challenges will arise. Fatigue, fear, distraction. These tests measure your commitment. When your mind conjures elaborate reasons to stall, you counter with simplicity. Act now. That phrase becomes your mantra, cutting through mental chatter. Whisper it aloud and do the deed. Over time, hesitation fades from your toolkit. You train your brain to anticipate action, a shift as profound as training a muscle for strength. Where once you hesitated, now you launch. Where once you wavered, now you decide. And that decisiveness ripples into every corner of your life. Relationships, projects, health, creativity. Here's a final challenge for the next 7 days. Catch every moment of hesitation and respond with immediate action. No negotiation, no debate. Keep a log of your triggers and responses. Review it each evening and commend yourself for every micro-win. That 7-day streak will anchor the habit permanently. Because when you take action, the moment you hesitate, you don't just complete tasks. You reshape your identity. You become someone who doesn't wait for perfect conditions, someone who makes their own conditions by moving. You become unstoppable. You've built the muscle to act despite hesitation. Now it's time to push yourself to finish what you start. Starting is easy. Ideas rush in. Excitement flares. You dive headfirst into new projects. But halfway through, fatigue, distractions, or doubt creep in and you bail. That ends today. When you finish every task you begin, you build unshakable integrity. You prove to yourself that your word means something, and you ignite unstoppable momentum. Picture this. You open your notebook with enthusiasm, sketching out 3 bullet points for a new proposal. You write furiously, adrenaline fueling every stroke, until the words slow. Your heart sinks. You glance at your phone. The words that once flowed now trickle. You feel the pull to just finish later. But what if you didn't? What if you drove straight through every thought, every paragraph, every task until it was done? That completion would spark a jolt of triumph through your body. Proof you can follow through, no matter how small the win. Completion is a habit, built one finish line at a time. Notice how unfinished work lingers in your mind. Half-drafted emails clutter your thoughts. Undone chores weigh you down. Half-hearted attempts at new routines drained your mental energy. Every open loop is an echo, a demand for attention, a drain on focus. But every time you close a loop, complete a report, wash the dishes, finish reading a chapter, you clear mental space. You send a message to your subconscious. I follow through. And that message reverberates louder than any pep talk ever could. Here's how you lock in the habit of finishing. First, define what done means before you start. If you tell yourself you'll work on the report, you'll wander aimlessly. Instead, specify draft the executive summary and bullet key findings. That clarity creates a tangible finish line. You can see it, you can smell it, you can taste the victory of completion. Next, break large tasks into micro tasks with clear endpoints. If you're editing a video, set export first 60 seconds as your goal. If you're learning a new skill, aim for complete 5 practice repetitions. Those micro victories compound, and each one builds neural proof that you can start, persist, and finish. During the task, watch for signals of escape, mind wandering, phone glances, sudden hunger pangs. When you notice them, pause and label the distraction. That's avoidance. Then recommit. I will finish this segment. Use a simple mantra. Complete what I start. Say it under your breath as you refocus. Embrace the discomfort of finishing. Often, finish lines arrive just as resistance peaks. The moment you hear "I'm tired" or "I'll do it tomorrow" is the moment to lean in. Tell yourself, this is the test. I meet it now. That mental framing transforms discomfort into opportunity. You don't avoid resistance, you use it as fuel. Celebrate every completion. When you click send on that email, shout even quietly, "Done." Give yourself a 2-second high five. That celebration triggers a dopamine hit, reinforcing the habit loop. Cue, task, action, complete, reward, celebration. Over time, your brain starts craving the reward and you naturally finish tasks just to experience that small thrill. Use time boxing to force closure. Instead of open-ended sessions, set a hard stop. I start editing at 10 a.m. and finish by 11 a.m. When the alarm chimes, you close the file, export the document, or wrap up your notes. That constraint creates urgency. Your mind knows you must finish within the time block and refuses to let you wander. Pair finishing with your daily review. At the end of each work block, glance at your microtasks list and cross off every finished item. Feel the satisfaction. If something remains unfinished, decide then whether you'll allocate time tomorrow or deprioritize it altogether. That decision frees your mind from uncertainty. Recognize the ripple effect. Finishing one thing makes you more likely to finish the next. It builds a chain of small triumphs. You finish your morning pages, you finish your workout, you finish your lunch prep, you finish your client request. By midday, you're a person known for completion, and that identity drives every choice. Reflect on the cost of not finishing. Half-completed projects haunt you. They keep you cycling through guilt loops. Why didn't I finish? I'll have to start over. That mental friction wastes more energy than the task itself. By contrast, when you finish, there's no second guess, just clear mental bandwidth for the next challenge. Use accountability to amplify your finish rate. Tell a colleague or friend, I will send you the first draft by 3 p.m. Knowing someone else is expecting completion raises the stakes. You're less likely to bail when you've made a public commitment. After you finish, send proof, a quick message, a screenshot, a link. The external validation reinforces your internal drive. Watch out for perfectionism disguised as hesitation. You tell yourself you must refine endlessly before finishing. But perfect is the enemy of done. Adopt a good enough standard for drafts and first versions. Remind yourself, I can iterate, but I won't stall. Ship the work, then improve in the next cycle. That iterative approach fuels progress far more reliably than waiting for an impossible ideal. When you finish a task, take a moment to note what you learned. That reflection deepens the habit loop. Completion isn't just closure, it's insight. You discover where you tend to stall, what triggers resistance, and how you can streamline future tasks. Apply those lessons to make your next finish even smoother. Celebrate big finishes too. When you complete a major project, a presentation, a launch, a course, take a meaningful reward, a break in nature, a call with a friend, a favorite treat. Those significant rewards anchor the habit of finishing even the largest challenges. They remind you that completion is worth celebrating because it's the engine of growth. Overcome the last 10% lull by using a countdown approach. When you're 90% done and your energy flags, visualize the final stretch, 10 more minutes, 1 more section, 5 more slides. Break the end into mini finishes, each triggering a tiny victory that propels you across the line. Remember that finishing tasks is not a chore, it's your superpower. Every completion is a testament to your reliability, your discipline, and your respect for your own commitments. Others will notice. Clients will receive projects on time. Teammates will trust your follow-through, and you'll earn a reputation as someone who gets things done. By making completion non-negotiable, you wire your identity from someone who starts things to someone who finishes them. That identity shift shapes every choice, and before you even begin, your brain anticipates closure. You approach tasks armed with the mantra, finish what I start. Go through your day now and identify one unfinished task, no matter how small. It could be a half-written text, an unread article, or a rearranged closet. Decide you will complete it today, right now. Close your eyes and visualize the finish line. Feel the sense of relief and triumph when it's done. then act. That single act of finishing one thing today creates a ripple through your entire mindset. You prove to yourself that you keep your word, you free mental bandwidth, you build confidence, and you lay another brick in the foundation of a life defined by completion, not by leftover to-dos. So pick one task, any task, and finish it. Do not pause. Do not divert. Do not negotiate. Complete it, celebrate it, and watch your integrity and your momentum soar. You've built momentum by finishing tasks and taking action immediately. Now it's time to guard the energy that fuels your growth. Every habit you practice depends on your capacity, your mental clarity, physical stamina, and emotional resilience. Saying yes to everything drains that capacity drop by drop until you find yourself running on empty before midday. Today, you learn to say no to the things that sap your energy and yes only to what drives you forward. Imagine your energy as a battery that slowly discharges with every unnecessary obligation. A single yes to a draining call can dim the lights on your most important work. A casual agreement to yet another meeting silently steals power from your passion projects. You wouldn't let your phone run into the red without plugging it in. So why let your inner battery drain without protection? Boundaries are your charger. They preserve your energy so you can unleash it on what truly matters. Start by identifying your biggest energy drainers. Throughout your day, notice where you feel tension, resentment, or heaviness. Is it that colleague who always complains? Is it mindless scrolling through social feeds? Is it agreeing to errands that pull you off course? Whatever it is, write down each drainer in a list. Seeing it on paper shifts it from an abstract annoyance to a target you can conquer. Next, connect each drainer to its hidden cost. For example, answering non-urgent texts during your deep work block might cost you 30 minutes of focus, which equals lost momentum on a critical project. Attending unnecessary meetings might shave off hours you could invest in skill building or healthy routines. When you translate drainers into precise costs, time lost, stress gained, you no longer consider them polite obligations but energy thieves you must eject. Now, craft clear, respectful no scripts. You don't need to be rude or defensive. You simply need to protect your capacity. For a colleague request that doesn't align, say, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm at full capacity right now. Let's find another time when I can fully engage." For endless social media pings, decide, "I'll check messages after I finish my top priority of the day." Practice these lines until they feel natural. Notice the relief that follows. A quick mental exhale that signals you've reclaimed your power. Set firm boundaries in your schedule. Block energy reserves into your calendar. Periods labeled protected focus or recharge. During these blocks, you turn off notifications, close irrelevant tabs, and let only high-value tasks in. When someone asks for your time, you check your calendar first. If there's no space, you say no or offer an alternative that doesn't jeopardize your reserves. Over time, others will learn that your time and your energy are not infinite resources to be squandered. Practice a daily no audit. At the end of each day, review every yes you gave. Ask, was this aligned with my goals and values? If yes, celebrate that boundary held strong. If no, pause and reflect. Why did I agree? What can I say no to tomorrow instead? That reflection trains you to notice your triggers: guilt, fear of missing out, desire to please, and prepare better responses in advance. Use the power of all pre-no before the temptation to agree even surfaces. Decide in advance what you will refuse. For instance, you might declare, "I won't schedule meetings before 10 a.m." or "I won't volunteer for extra tasks that don't advance my main projects." When the interaction arrives, you already have your answer ready. This preparation stops you from bargaining with your energy on the spot. Visualize your energy field like a fence around your priorities. Everything inside the fence receives your attention and care. Everything outside stays out. If someone or something knocks on the fence and tries to barge in, you firmly close the gate. You don't have to engage every idea, request, or emergency. By honoring that fence, you cultivate calm focus rather than scattered overwhelm. Notice how saying no to distractions heightens your creativity and productivity. When you cut off low-value activities, your brain reallocates resources to your top tasks. You'll find your mind more alert, ideas flowing faster, and problem-solving sharper. That surge of clarity reminds you why boundaries exist in the first place. They create space for what truly matters. Be mindful of your inner drainers, too. Thought patterns that erode energy, negative self-talk, rumination over past mistakes, worrying about outcomes you can't control. Those mental habits can sap energy faster than any external obligation. Apply the respectful self-talk techniques from Section 3. Interrupt negative loops with supportive reframes. Replace "I'm overwhelmed" with "I'm managing step by step." That inner boundary protects your emotional reserves. Guard your evenings with equal rigor. Establish a shutdown ritual. Turn off screens at a set time. Spend 10 minutes in reflection. Then shift on to a restorative activity. Reading, meditation, light, stretching. That practice signals to your brain that the day's drains are closed and it's time to recharge. You wake the next morning with a fuller battery, ready to practice purpose from Section 1 all over again. Experiment with a no list alongside your to-do list. While the to-do list captures actions you'll take, the no list captures things you'll refuse. Maybe that's no social media until after work, no extra projects this week, or no more than 2 meetings per day. Place your no list somewhere visible. Each time you consider saying yes to a drainer, glimpse the list and remind yourself, energy is precious, and I choose to protect mine. Use accountability to reinforce your boundaries. Tell a trusted friend or mentor your no list and ask them to check in. They can help you notice when you slip, and their support makes boundary setting less lonely. Celebrate wins together. Each time you uphold a no, hey, that's a triumph worth acknowledging. Recognize that some people will push back. They're used to your availability, and your new boundaries feel uncomfortable to them. Stand firm. A boundary is a gift to both of you. It teaches them to respect your time and invites them to offer collaboration in more mindful ways. If someone resists, explain briefly. I'm committed to deep work these days, so I can't join every call. Let me know how I can best contribute within those limits. During particularly busy seasons, remind yourself of your core purpose from Section 1. When you feel the pull to say yes out of habit, recall why you began this journey: to build a life aligned with your values and vision. That reminder strengthens your resolve. You say no not out of selfishness, but out of respect for yourself and for the quality of your contributions. Finally, integrate boundary setting into your morning planning from Section 2. Each day, ask, what will I say no to today? Write down 1 or 2 non-negotiables. drainers you refuse to entertain. Then schedule your priorities accordingly. That forward-looking no supercharges your plan and ensures you start the day with clarity, not clutter. Saying no is not a one-time event, but a muscle you strengthen through repetition. Every refusal builds discipline, protects your energy, and frees you to invest in high-leverage actions. Over days and weeks, you'll notice your sense of calm deepening, your focus sharpening, and your progress accelerating. So identify one energy drainer right now, something you've been habitually saying yes to that doesn't serve your growth. Close your eyes, visualize the drain, and say no to it, silently or aloud. Feel the weight lift. Then go back to your day, energized by the space you just reclaimed. That space is where your highest potential lives, guarded fiercely. You've protected your energy and strengthened your boundaries. Now let's sharpen your most powerful tool, your mind. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you feed your brain new input every single day. Learning one new thing daily rewires your neural pathways, expands your perspective, and keeps your thinking razor sharp. It's not about cramming facts. It's about consistent micro-learning that primes you for innovation, resilience, and clarity. Imagine your mind as a garden. If you never plant new seeds, your soil becomes barren, overrun by the same old weeds of routine and assumption. But when you sow one fresh idea a day, a concept, a skill, an insight, you cultivate fertile ground where creativity blossoms. Each new seed sprouts connections, new paths between ideas, making your mind more adaptable and resourceful. Start with curiosity. Throughout your day, notice moments when a question sparks. How does that work? Or, why did they choose that approach? Instead of letting the thought fade, capture it immediately. Jot down, learn why, discover how, or investigate what. That fleeting curiosity is your invitation to learn, a spark you must fan into flame. Choose bite-sized resources. You don't need to read a 300-page book overnight. Instead, bookmark a 2-minute video on a topic that intrigues you, a brief tutorial on a new software trick, a surprising fact about history, or a quick TED-style talk on creativity. Listen to a 5-minute podcast snippet that challenges your assumptions about productivity. Read a single paragraph in a well-written article that changes how you view decision-making. Those microdoses add up. Schedule learning pockets alongside your planning ritual. When you map your day in Section 2, block out 5 to 10 minutes dedicated solely to discovery. Maybe it's right after your morning deep work block or immediately after lunch. During that pocket, close unnecessary tabs, mute notifications, and devote your attention to expanding your knowledge. That small, unprotected time becomes a launch pad for daily growth. Use a just-in-time learning. When you encounter a roadblock, a term you don't understand, a process that feels unclear, pause and learn that exact piece of information on the spot, instead of pushing through confusion. Invest 2 minutes to search for what does X mean, or how to do Y. That immediate application cements the knowledge far more effectively than passive consumption. Capture your discoveries in a learning log. Keep a running list, digital or analog, of each new thing you pick up. It could be a mnemonic for memory, a counterintuitive principle from behavioral psychology, or a shortcut that saves you time in your design software. At the end of the week, flip through your log and watch how much you've accumulated. That visible progress fuels motivation and reminds you that small steps lead to giant leaps over time. Adopt the Feynman technique. After you learn something new, teach it out loud or in writing, as if you're explaining it to a child. If you can break down a complex idea into simple, clear language, you've truly mastered it. If you stumble, you've uncovered gaps that need more study. This method accelerates comprehension and transforms passive input into active mastery. Leverage theme days sparingly. Assign one day each week to explore a specific domain, a new language phrase on Monday, a data visualization tip on Wednesday, a philosophical quote on Friday. Theme days give structure and variety, ensuring you don't repeat the same topics too often and continually stretch your mind across different fields. Balance depth and breadth. Some days, dive deeper into a single concept. Read an entire article on neuroscience or practice a coding challenge until you solve it. Other days, skim a variety of subjects. A quick glance at art history, a snippet on astrophysics, a paragraph on personal finance. This alternating approach keeps your neural pathways flexible, deep when needed, wide when curiosity calls. Use spaced repetition for retention. If you learn a new vocabulary word or a formula, schedule brief reviews later that day, the next day, then 2 days later. Tools like flashcards or simple calendar reminders ensure the information moves from short-term to long-term memory. That retention strategy turns occasional learning into lasting insight. Challenge your assumptions. When you learn something, ask, why do I believe the opposite? Or, what would change if this idea were true? That questioning shakes you out of the mental ruts. It prevents confirmation bias and sparks creative solutions. A daily habit of challenging yourself keeps your thinking agile and prevents intellectual stagnation. Create a learning trigger. For example, every time you refill your water bottle, prompt yourself to read one sentence of a nonfiction book. Or each time you sit down to eat lunch, spend 2 minutes watching an educational clip. By tying learning to an existing habit, you automate the behavior, making micro-learning nearly effortless. Pair learning with reflection. At the end of each day's review, Section 9, ask yourself, what did I learn today? Articulate it in writing or out loud. Even if you only discovered one small insight, acknowledging it reinforces the habit and encourages you to seek the next one. Over time, your what improved check-in will naturally include what did I learn? As a core metric of progress, celebrate mental growth. When you internalize a new concept, when you solve a problem faster or see connections you previously missed, recognize the growth. Say to yourself, that idea is now part of me. This moment of pride cements the habit loop. Cue, learning moment, action, consuming new information. Reward, sense of growth. Your brain starts craving that reward and seeks out learning opportunities automatically. Collaborate to learn faster. Share a weekly micro lesson with a friend or colleague. Teach them the most interesting thing you discovered. Their questions will push you to clarify and deepen your understanding. In return, they'll teach you something in the next session. That reciprocal exchange elevates both of you and keeps your learning dynamic and social. Beware shallow skimming. Resist the urge to scroll endlessly through headlines without absorbing substance. If a topic piques you, commit to a minimal threshold. Read 3 sentences. Watch a 1-minute explanation. Or jot down 2 key takeaways. That small investment transforms passive browsing into active learning. apply new ideas immediately. If you learn a time management hack, test it in your next planning session. If you discover a breathing technique for stress relief, practice it before a high-pressure call. Immediate application cements the learning and delivers instant benefit, reinforcing the value of microlearning. Use diverse sources to prevent echo chambers. Mix formats, articles, videos, podcasts, infographics, and vary perspectives. Seek out experts whose views differ from yours. That variety injects fresh viewpoints into your mind, preventing intellectual complacency and strengthening your critical thinking. Guard against overwhelm. If you feel flooded by new information, return to your learning log and review just one previous insight. Reflect on how it's impacted your day. This gentle loop ensures learning never becomes draining, but remains energizing and empowering. Set a quarterly big question. Every 3 months, choose a broader topic: leadership, creativity, financial literacy, and explore one aspect each day for a week. Then, pivot to another theme. These focused sprints give structure to your microlearning and deepen your expertise over time without sacrificing daily variety. And remember, learning is not a race, only it's a rhythm. You don't need to dominate every subject. You need to stay curious and consistent. One new thing a day may feel small, but it's the momentum under your feet. Each insight is a stepping stone toward a sharp, agile mind that adapts to any challenge. So right now, pause and identify one question that's been on your mind, big or small. Write it down. Then find a 2-minute resource that answers it. Read, listen, or watch immediately. Jot down your takeaway. You've just honored the learning habit. You've sown today's seed. Watch your garden grow. You've been feeding your mind new ideas every day. Now let's rescue your mood before it derails your progress. When negative thoughts or emotional lows creep in, standing still only lets them grow. Movement interrupts the spiral, resets your state, and invites fresh energy back into your body and mind. It doesn't take a marathon, just a few deliberate steps to flip the switch from stuck to steady. Picture yourself paralyzed by a cloud of doubt, shoulders slumped, head bowed, breath shallow. You're replaying every mistake. Anxiety's bubbling up, and the weight of your to-do list presses on your chest. In that moment, waiting for motivation is like waiting for a storm to clear while you stay outside in the rain. Instead, step into action. Stand up. Stretch your arms wide. Take a walk around your room or office, and let your body lead the mind out of the rut. Movement floods your brain with oxygen and endorphins, firing up neural circuits for clarity and calm. Even a single minute of motion, jumping jacks, calf raises, walking up and down the hall, shakes loose a mental fog. Your breath deepens, your posture straightens, and your mind gets a welcome jolt of presence. You don't need special equipment. You only need awareness and a decision. I will move now. Create micro-movement rituals tied to daily triggers. For example, though, every time you finish a 50-minute work block, stand and do 10 squats. When you receive an email that frustrates you, take 3 steps outside and inhale deeply. If you notice your spirits sinking after lunch, push your chair back, spin around twice, then resume your tasks. Those small rituals train your brain to associate movement with mental reset. Use movement to anchor gratitude. 2. As you stretch or pace, name 3 things you appreciate, big or small. The physical motion combined with positive reflection multiplies the mood-lifting effect. You'll find that movement isn't only for productivity, it's for emotional balance. Experiment with movement snacks throughout your day. Set a reminder on your phone or calendar every hour. Move for 2 minutes. It can be a brisk walk to the water cooler, gentle yoga stretches at your desk, or marching in place while humming your favorite tune. These micro breaks cumulatively prevent mood crashes and keep your energy leveled. Leverage natural environments when possible. Step outside for fresh air. Feel the sun or wind on your skin. Notice the sensation of grass or pavement under your feet. Nature movement combines the benefits of exercise with the restorative power of the outdoors. 10 minutes in the sun can lift your mood more than an hour at your desk ever could. Pair movement with learning from Section 7. Listen to an educational podcast while strolling around your block. Combine mental and physical exercise to maximize your time and amplify your sense of progress. You'll train your brain to expect growth whenever you move, making movement feel like a dual benefit habit rather than an extra chore. When strong emotions, anger, sadness, anxiety, threaten to overwhelm, movement becomes your personal reset button. Recognize the signs: clenching jaw, tight shoulders, shallow breath. Don't let those signals fester. Instead, respond with motion. Push-ups against the wall, lunges down the hallway, or a quick dance to your favorite song. That physical outlet dissipates stress hormones and releases energy so your mind can return to problem solving in group settings or at home. Enlist a movement buddy. Agree to send each other a signal when you notice the other one stuck in a low state. Then each of you commits to a 2-minute movement break. That mutual accountability not only strengthens the habit, but also deepens your social connections, boosting mood from both movement and community. Integrate movement into transitions. When you close one task and prepare for the next, stand up, shake out your limbs, and take 3 purposeful breaths. That physical transition helps your mind switch focus more cleanly than simply clicking between tabs. You'll find yourself more present in each moment because you physically mark the shift. Create movement triggers from everyday tasks. When you pour coffee, do calf raises while you wait. When you brush your teeth, sway side to side. When you wait on hold, stand on your tiptoes and drop your heels 10 times. These micro gestures build neural links between ordinary routines and positive movement, making it effortless to stay active. Notice how movement amplifies other habits. It enhances your focus for planning. Section 2. Energizes your self-talk. Section 3. By releasing tension, and reinforces your ability to act on hesitation. Section 4. Movement is the physical glue that holds every other habit together, supplying the consistent energy you need to follow through. Use a simple move or mute rule for digital distractions. When a distracting notification pops up, stand and walk before you decide whether to engage. That brief walk introduces a pause between stimulus and response, often enough to realize the distraction isn't worth your time. You'll naturally drift back to your high-priority focus instead of reacting impulsively. When planning your day, Section 2, block out 5-minute movement buffer periods between major tasks. Use those buffers to reset your state. That structural integration ensures you never stay sedentary for hours on end. And because you've scheduled it, movement becomes non-negotiable. Just another essential part of your day. Remember, the goal isn't to become a fitness fanatic, unless you want to, but to make movement a reliable tool for mood management and mental clarity. It's not a reward for feeling good. It's the precursor to feeling good. You don't wait to feel energized. You create the energy by moving. Now, whenever you catch your mind spiraling, worrying, dwelling, doubting, stop, stand, and move. Do it immediately. No negotiation, just motion. That simple 3-step sequence, notice, move, reset, becomes a powerful catalyst to pull you out of flow moods and back into purposeful action. So stand up right now. Lift your arms overhead. Stretch tall. Take 3 deep breaths. And plant your feet firmly. You've just reclaimed your state. From here, you step forward, literally and figuratively, into the rest of your day with renewed vigor, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. Your day has been a flurry of purpose, action, and energy management. Now it's time to pause and look back. In the quiet moments just before bed, you harness the habit of reflection by asking one simple question: what improved today? This end-of-day review isn't about judgment or pressure. It's a spotlight on progress, a way to celebrate small wins and guide tomorrow's focus with precision. As you settle into a calm space, perhaps with your journal, a warm drink, or soft lighting, take a deep breath and review your morning plan from Section 2. Recall the 3 priorities you set: the deep work project, the meeting-free focus blocks, the movement ritual. Ask yourself, did you honor those priorities? Where did you succeed? Where did your actions align with your purpose? Write down each success, no matter how small: a completed outline, a distraction you resisted, a short walk that reset your state. Next, scan for unexpected victories. Maybe you handled a sudden obstacle with composure, applied respectable self-talk from Section 3 when stress flared, or acted on hesitation within 5 seconds as taught in Section 4. Perhaps you said no to a draining request, learned a quick fact that sharpened your skills, or moved to lift your mood just in time. Those moments often slip by unnoticed, yet each one represents real growth. Capture them in bullet points, honoring the progress you made. If you encounter unfinished tasks, resist the urge to berate yourself. Instead, frame them as data points. Ask, what held me back? Did I define a clear finish line? Was I hesitant? Did I protect my energy or let it drain? This gentle inquiry transforms setbacks into insights. Note any patterns. Perhaps you overcommitted, underestimated time, or let distractions creep back in. Those patterns become your guideposts for tomorrow's plan. Turn your reflection into a ritual. Set a daily alarms, and ideally 10-30 minutes before your intended bedtime to trigger your review. When it sounds, close all screens. Find your journal or notes app and silence the world for 5 minutes. In that dedicated window, ask 2 core questions. What improved today? And what one thing can I adjust tomorrow? Answer them succinctly, in 1 or 2 sentences each. This rapid cycle keeps your review focused and actionable. As you write, speak your answers quietly or in your mind. Hearing your own voice can deepen the impact. For example, I completed my presentation draft and felt energized by the finish. Tomorrow, I'll schedule an earlier movement break to prevent afternoon fatigue. That spoken affirmation solidifies both your achievements and your adjustments, making reflection an active dialogue with yourself. Celebrate your improvements fully. At the end of your list, highlight 1 or 2 items in bolder color, those that carried the most impact or gave you the greatest sense of pride. This visual cue draws your attention to what truly matters and reinforces the positive neural loop of review and reward. It trains your brain to seek out and honor progress rather than fixate on shortcomings. Integration is key. After you finish reflecting, tuck your journal away where you can see it in the morning. Pair this reflection habit with your morning planning, section 2, by reviewing last night's notes as you map your new top 3 priorities. That continuity ensures yesterday's lessons directly inform today's intentions. You transform reflection from an isolated exercise into a seamless loop of feedback and forward motion. Over time, you'll notice you start spotting improvements automatically without even needing to sit down. You'll catch yourself thinking, I handled that call more calmly today than I did last week. Or, I stuck to my energy plan better than yesterday. Those mental nudges are proof the reflection habit is rewiring your mindset to focus on growth, not on what went wrong. Reflection also fuels gratitude. By intentionally noticing your wins, you cultivate a positive mindset that counteracts negativity bias. Even on tough days, you'll find glimmers of progress, an email you responded to kindly, a brief moment of focus when you could have given up that remind you of your capacity to improve. Gratitude and progress go hand in hand, keeping you motivated and resilient to deepen your reflection, expand beyond work tasks. Ask, how did I show up in my relationships? Did you listen more attentively? Offer support? Maintain healthy boundaries? How did you care for your body through movement, rest, or mindful eating? Did you protect your emotional energy with self-talk or boundary setting? Recording these reflections fosters balanced growth across all areas of life. If you struggle to reflect meaningfully, use prompts. Download or print a simple template with questions such as, what was my biggest win? What drained me today? What lesson stands out? What will I say no to tomorrow? Keep the sheet by your bed or workspace. Over time, you'll internalize these prompts and reflect fluently without external cues. Share your reflections selectively. If you have an accountability partner or coach, exchange one daily insight. You might text, today, I finished my project draft early, and I'll say no to extra meetings tomorrow. That external check makes your review public, reinforcing your commitment and inviting supportive feedback. Beware common reflection pitfalls. Don't spiral into overanalysis. Keep your notes concise. Don't let reflection become procrastination. Limit it to 5 minutes. And don't skip it just because you feel tired. That's exactly when you need clarity. The habit's power multiplies when you practice it consistently, even on days you'd rather avoid it. As you build this end-of-day review, watch your mindset transform. You'll trade aimless drift for purposeful course corrections. You'll replace self-doubt with documented progress. You'll see obstacles not as failures, but as feedback. Each night, you reaffirm your identity as someone who learns, adapts, and grows daily. Now, before you drift to sleep, pause and ask yourself, what improved today? Write your answer, then ask, what one adjustment can I make tomorrow? Write that too. Close your journal, rest easy, and know that tomorrow's plan will be stronger because you honored today's progress. You've seen the power of purpose, planning, self-talk, action, completion, boundaries, learning, movement, and reflection. Now it's time to weave these practices into the fabric of who you are. Lasting change doesn't happen in bursts of motivation. It takes persistence, especially when the habit feels hardest. When you stick with a new behavior long enough that it becomes natural, you rewire your identity around it. You stop forcing yourself and start being yourself. Every habit follows a curve. Excitement at the start, resistance in the middle, ease at the end. Most people quit during the resistance phase, when enthusiasm dips and old patterns tempt them back. They think, this isn't for me, or maybe I'll try something new. But that resistance is the gateway to transformation. It's the friction that forges new neural pathways, the tension that builds mental muscle. If you push through it again and again, you'll flip the toggle. The habit stops feeling like an effort and becomes your default mode. Imagine you're hammering a nail into wood. The first few strikes drive it in slowly, and your arm aches. You think about stopping. But if you keep hammering, each hit sinks the nail deeper until it slides effortlessly and disappears. That's how habits work. The initial strikes are the toughest. Your brain resists change because it clings to familiar circuits. But each repetition drives the habit deeper until it becomes seamless, almost invisible. To stick until natural, follow a 3-phase approach: commit, persist, adapt. Commit. From day one, anchor your habit in a clear why. What deeper purpose does this behavior serve? Maybe you're sticking to morning intention because you refuse to drift through life. Maybe you're practicing respectful self-talk because you refuse to live under self-criticism. Whatever your motivation, write it down and revisit it daily, especially when your willpower wavers. That why is the fuel that outlasts fleeting feelings. Persist. Treat every day as non-negotiable. Use implementation intentions. When X happens, I will do Y. For instance, when my alarm rings at 6 a.m., I will sit up and ask my purpose question before touching my phone. Or when I finish dinner, I will reflect for 5 minutes before watching any show. Those simple triggers automate the habit loop. Even if you do a partial version on off days, 5 squats instead of 10, 1 sentence instead of a page, you stay in motion. Consistency over perfection. Expect setbacks. You will miss days. Your environment may conspire against you. Travel, illness, emergencies. When that happens, don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge the disruption and immediately plan a recovery. Tomorrow, I'll pick up at day X plus 1. The faster you get back on track, the less power a missed day holds. Habit experts call this the never miss twice rule. Don't let a lapse turn into a relapse. Adapt. Habits evolve. The way you stuck to learning last month might not fit your schedule now. Periodically assess what's working and what isn't. If your morning routine feels stale, tweak it. Maybe you swap journaling with a chat partner. If end-of-day reflection drags, shorten it or change the prompt. Adaptation keeps the habit aligned with your life rather than forcing your life to fit the habit. That flexibility is what makes sticking sustainable. Use habit stacking to reinforce new behaviors. Attach your target habit to an established one. For example, after you brush your teeth, follow with a 2-minute affirmation. After you pour your morning coffee, write 1 line of gratitude. By piggybacking, you reduce friction. You don't need to remember a separate cue. Your existing routine serves that role. Over time, the new action feels like part of your original ritual. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Landmark moments, day 7, day 30, day 66, mark progress on the habit curve. Research suggests it takes around 2 months for a behavior to feel automatic, but everyone's curve differs. When you hit a milestone, Acknowledge it. Send yourself a quick note, share it with a friend, or treat yourself to something meaningful. Those celebrations inject positive emotion into the habit loop, reinforcing persistence. Leverage social accountability. When you announce your habit publicly on social media, in a group chat, or to a partner, you introduce external pressure to follow through. Studies show we're more likely to stick when others are watching. Better yet, find a habit buddy with whom you share daily check-ins. You report your progress, they report theirs, and you hold each other to the commitment. That mutual support turns solitary struggle into shared triumph. Harness keystone habits to amplify impact. Some behaviors catalyze multiple changes. For instance, consistent morning planning often improves sleep, productivity, and diet. Regular movement uplifts mood and focus. Identify which of your 10 habits generate the most positive domino effects, and prioritize sticking to those until they're unwavering. As keystone habits solidify, the others become easier to maintain. Build visual trackers to sustain momentum. Create a simple calendar or habit tracker and mark each completed day with a big X. Watching the chain grow and fearing to break the streak taps into our innate desire for consistency. The visual record also gives satisfaction beyond the internal feeling. It's a concrete demonstration of your dedication. Mind the environment. If you want to stick to movement, leave your workout shoes by the door. If you want to read daily, place a book on your pillow. If you want to journal, keep your notebook in plain sight. By reducing friction, the tiny obstacles between intention and action, you bias your environment in favor of the habit. Over time, the visual cues fade into background, and the behavior becomes automatic. When resistance is strongest, just before ease, you must lean in. That's the lapse zone. Set a mini challenge. Push yourself to complete the habit for 3 extra days beyond your planned commitment. Those bonus repetitions drive the habit deeper and shorten the resistance phase. It's like sprinting over the crest of a hill rather than stopping at the peak. Guard against overloading. Trying to cement all 10 habits at once risks burnout. Instead, focus on 2 or 3 at a time, ideally those that complement each other, like morning purpose and planning, or self-talk and reflection. Once those feel natural, layer in the next ones. This phased approach respects your brain's limited bandwidth while ensuring sustainable progress. Recognize the identity shift. You're not doing these habits to become someone else. You're gradually revealing the person you already are. Someone disciplined, intentional, and growth-oriented. As habits integrate, your self-image transforms. You no longer have to consciously do the behavior. You are the behavior. You don't meditate for 5 minutes. You're a meditator. You don't plan your day. You are a planner. That identity-based mindset is the ultimate anchor. Track your narrative. Tell yourself, I am someone who instead of, I try to. When temptation calls, internal dialogue changes. I don't miss my morning purpose. That's who I am. Or I am the person who completes what she starts. Framing your habit as an aspect of identity makes deviation feel like a mismatch, which your brain naturally resists. After weeks of repetition, you'll notice the habit's resistance fades. The early discomfort dissolves into routine. You don't debate whether to move or reflect. You just do it reflexively. That's the sign you've etched the habit into your identity. From there, maintenance requires minimal effort. just occasional check-ins and adjustments. Finally, celebrate the transformation. Look back at where you began, unstable, distracted, let down by inertia, and see how far you've come. Your habits are now woven into your daily rhythm, reinforcing your purpose every moment. You aren't someone who chases change. You're someone who lives it. Stick with these practices until they feel as natural as breathing. Until that moment, persistence is your compass. Each time you choose to show up, you reinforce the neural highway that leads you home to your new, empowered identity. You've mastered each habit one by one. Now it's time to weave them into the fabric of your daily life so they function in harmony, not isolation. Integration means these practices aren't separate tasks on your checklist. They become the seamless undercurrent of every moment, guiding your choices automatically. When you embed purpose, planning, self-talk, action, completion, boundaries, learning, movement, reflection, and persistence into your routines, you don't have to force yourself to remember them. They're already built into how you live. Anchor habits to existing routines. Begin by choosing key anchors, daily rituals you already perform without thought. Your morning coffee, lunchtime break, end-of-day commute, or brushing your teeth. Attach one habit to each anchor. For example, as you pour coffee, reaffirm your purpose from section 1. What am I building today? When you sit down for lunch, pull up your plan from section 2 and review your top 3 priorities. Before brushing your teeth at night, conduct your reflection from section 9. What improved today? By piggybacking new habits onto ingrained actions, you reduce friction and turn integration into a natural flow. Create a unified dashboard. Design a single place, physical or digital, where you track all 10 habits. It might be a custom spreadsheet, a whiteboard at your desk, or a notes app with checkboxes. Each habit has its own row or icon. Every time you complete one, mark it. But don't just track completion. Link each habit to a specific life domain. Purpose and planning live in your morning section. Self-talk and boundaries align with work and relationships. Movement and learning integrate into breaks. Reflection sits in your evening zone. Persistence overlays the entire day. A unified dashboard helps you see patterns of integration rather than isolated wins. Use context-based reminders. Set reminders that trigger only in relevant settings. For example, geofence your home for evening reflection and reading. You receive a phone alert when you walk through your front door. Time for your end-of-day review. Configure your work computer to remind you mid-morning. Stand, stretch, and speak your affirmations. Use calendar integrations to pop up plan your day alerts before your first meeting. These contextual cues nudge you to practice habits exactly when they're most effective. Leverage habit stacking chains. Build chains where one habit naturally leads to the next. A powerful morning chain might look like: wake up with purpose, plan your day, speak your affirmations, act on hesitation, 5-second rule. Start your first deep work block. Each step flows into the next, minimizing decision fatigue. Create a similar chain for midday. Complete your current task. Stand and move. Learn one new thing. Return to work with fresh clarity. Evening chains tie together reflection, self-talk, and planning for the next day. Over time, these chains feel like a single, flowing ritual rather than disjointed steps. Design integrated triggers for boundaries. Embedding boundaries requires seamless integration to feel natural. For example, when you receive a non-urgent email, a silent push notification with custom text. Does this align with my top priorities? Appears. If not, you delay response. If you plan your week on Sunday, map out on those zones, times when you automatically refuse meetings or social media. These predefined boundaries become part of your weekly planning ritual, ensuring integration without extra effort. Sync habits with energy rhythms. Your energy ebbs and flows through the day. Integrate movement and learning into natural lulls. After lunch, when focus wanes, schedule your learning pocket or a short walk. In the late afternoon, when creativity surges, schedule your reflective journaling or boundary audit. Aligning habit practice with energy highs and lows creates a smooth integration. Each habit supports your biology, not fights against it. Embed self-talk in transitions. Use every context shift, ending a meeting, stepping out of a call, switching tasks, as a trigger for self-talk from Section 3. Carry a small card in your wallet or a home screen widget with a few powerful reframes. The moment you feel tension or doubt, pull up that prompt and speak to yourself with respect. Over time, these reframes become the default response in high-pressure moments, seamlessly integrated into your communication style. Integrate learning into collaborative spaces. Turn meetings, team chats, or family dinners into learning opportunities. Start each session by sharing one micro-insight from your learning log. Encourage others to do the same. That practice weaves daily learning into social interactions and reinforces the habit through accountability. You learn, you teach, and you integrate growth into the fabric of relationships. Use environmental design for habit convergence. Arrange your physical spaces so that triggers for multiple habits reside in the same zone. For example, keep your journal, affirmation cards, and water bottle on a single desk corner. That spot becomes the habit hub where you plan, Section 2, reflect, Section 9, perform self-talk, Section 3, and hydrate, movement cue, Section 8. Designing multi-cue environments reinforces integrated practice, so you don't have to search or decide where to go next. Integrate completion rituals into every task, whether you're sending an email, finishing a workout, or completing household chores. Embed a mini celebration, a quick note in your dashboard, a fist pump, or a verbal done. Each act of completion, Section 5, ties back to your unified dashboard and primes the next habit in your stack. That ritual cements the integration of finishing into all life tasks, work and personal. Embed purpose reminders in digital tools. Customize your desktop wallpaper, phone lock screen, or browser homepage with concise prompts. What am I building today, Hinit? Or what improved today? Each glance at your device reignites purpose and reflection, reminding you to integrate those habits every time you interact with technology. Weave boundaries into social agreements. Clearly communicate your integrated habit structure to collaborators. I block my mornings for deep work, so I'll respond after 10 a.m. If something urgent comes up, flag it with urgent in the subject line. By aligning your boundaries with others' expectations, you integrate personal habits into professional and social contracts, reducing friction and fostering respect for your routines. Integrate movement into transportation. If you commute, turn travel time into a habit stack. Purpose planning, Section 1. Affirmation speaking, Section 3. Or micro-learning, Section 7, while walking or on public transit. If you drive, Use hands-free audio to learn or reflect. By merging movement with opportune time slots, you integrate 2 habits at once, maximizing efficiency and reinforcing both simultaneously. Align habits with weekly planning. During your Sunday planning session, a natural extension of Section 2, plot out not just tasks, but when and where each habit will be practiced. Create a weekly matrix. Mornings are for purpose and planning. Middays for action and learning. Afternoons for movement and completion rituals. Evenings for reflection and self-talk. End of week for boundary audits and adaptation check-ins. That macro view integrates habits into your broader life rhythm rather than isolating them daily. Integrate persistence into identity language. In every context, emails, conversations, meeting intros, use language that reflects your sticky habits. Phrases like, as someone who follows through, I'll have this ready by, or I'm committed to daily learning. So here's an insight I applied. Remind both you and others that these practices are part of who you are. That identity reinforcement, woven into social interactions, deepens integration at the narrative level. Use technology to reinforce integration. Explore habit stacking apps that allow multi-cue reminders, linking notifications for 3 habits at once. Use voice assistant routines. Say, start my day, and your smart speaker reads your purpose statement, top priorities, and affirmation. Automating multi-step habit chains via technology embeds integration without manual intervention. Review integration weekly. Set aside a weekly integration audit during your reflection time. Ask, which habits flowed smoothly together? Which felt disjointed? Where did triggers fail? Adjust your cues, stacks, or environment design accordingly. That ongoing calibration keeps your integrated system robust and aligned with evolving priorities and contexts. Integration is the art of making these 10 habits less about extra effort and more about natural expression. When you infuse purpose, planning, self-talk, action, completion, boundaries, learning, movement, reflection, and persistence into every facet of your life, work, home, relationships, transit, you no longer ask, how do I remember? You just live it. Now choose one existing routine, your morning coffee, lunch break, or commute, and map out a mini habit stack that integrates at least 3 of your key practices. Visualize yourself performing each step in sequence, then commit to trying that stack tomorrow. With each integrated moment, you move closer to embodying these habits as your effortless reality. Obstacles will arise, even for someone as disciplined as you're becoming. Distractions roar for attention, motivation wanes, and life's curveballs threaten to knock you off course. But obstacles are not stop signs. They're signals that it's time to adapt and strengthen your system. When setbacks occur, you'll face 3 common challenges: fading motivation, creeping distractions, and unexpected disruptions. Below, you'll discover tactics to navigate each one and keep your habits on track. In 1, rekindle motivation with a why reconnection. Motivation naturally ebbs. You wake up excited one day and drain the next. When your drive dips, reconnect with your deeper purpose from Section 1. Keep your why visible on a sticky note by your desk or as your phone wallpaper. When you feel the spark fading, pause and read your purpose aloud. Remind yourself how each habit serves that mission. That emotional jolt refuels energy far more reliably than willpower alone. If your purpose feels stale, refresh it. Journal for 5 minutes about why you began this journey Rekindling that emotional link reignites motivation. 2. Use if-then plans to preempt distractions. Distractions lurk everywhere. Social media, emails, unexpected requests. Preempt them with implementation intentions. If X happens, then I will Y. For instance, if I hear a notification ping, then I will ignore it until my next scheduled break. Or, if someone asks for my time outside my protected focus zone, then I will offer an alternative slot. By scripting your response in advance, you bypass the moment of temptation to bait. Your brain switches to autopilot and follows the plan, removing distraction from the equation. And create disruption buffers for life's surprises. Unexpected events, illness, travel delays, urgent family needs can derail routines. Build buffer zones into your weekly schedule. Unassigned blocks labeled disruption time. If nothing arises, use them for bonus deep work or micro-learning. If something does, you absorb the disruption without guilt or backlog. That structural flexibility prevents a single setback from collapsing your entire system. When life goes sideways, you flow with it, knowing you reserved time to catch up. 4. Micro goals to beat overwhelm. Large tasks can feel daunting, leading you to procrastinate. Counter overwhelm with micro goals, tiny, bite-sized actions that take under 5 minutes. Instead of write report, set draft 1 bullet point. Instead of clean garage, set organize 1 shelf. Each micro win triggers a dopamine hit, reinforcing the habit loop and making the next micro goal more inviting. Bit by bit, you chip away at giants without feeling crushed by them. 5. Habit pairing for mutual reinforcement. When 2 habits support each other, they become stronger together. Pair movement, Section 8 with learning. Section 7. Take a short walk while listening to a podcast. Pair reflection, Section 9 with self-talk. Section 3. Review wins while practicing supportive reframes. Habit pairing reduces friction because you tackle 2 birds with 1 stone, saving time and reinforcing both behaviors simultaneously. In 6, implement streak tracking for consistency. Visual progress spurs you on. Use a calendar or app to mark each day you complete a habit. Watching an unbroken chain of X's creates a streak you're loath to break. The desire to maintain that streak becomes a psychological motivator that often surpasses raw willpower. If you miss a day, lean on the never miss twice rule. Immediately restart the chain the next day, minimizing the impact of a lapse. 7. Leverage accountability partners. You're human. Public commitment heightens responsibility. Share your habit goals with a friend, mentor, or group. Establish a daily check-in, a quick message or call to confirm you followed through. Knowing someone else is watching raises the stakes and keeps you honest. In return, offer to hold them accountable. This reciprocal system fosters mutual support and transforms solitary struggles into shared victories. 8. Design environment to eliminate friction. Your surroundings can be an ally or enemy. Remove cues for bad habits and place triggers for good ones in plain sight. If you want to write every day, keep your notebook on your pillow. If you want to meditate, leave your cushion in the center of your living room. If you want to avoid social media, uninstall apps or mute notifications. The less effort required to begin a habit, the more likely you are to follow through. 9. Schedule mini fresh starts. Even the best routines can feel stale. If you Schedule a mini fresh start at a specific date or time, Monday morning, the first of the month, or after lunch. During that fresh start window, recommit to your habits, reset your streak tracker, journal your renewed pledge, and realign your environment. Fresh starts tap into our innate preference for new beginnings, giving you a clean mental slate. 10. Use self-compassion to navigate slip-ups. When you miss a habit, fight the urge to shame yourself. Shame leads to avoidance, making relapse more likely. Instead, practice self-compassion. Acknowledge the slip, explore what went wrong, and plan a simple next step. And say to yourself, I missed my planning session because I overslept. Tomorrow, I'll set my alarm earlier. That gentle approach repairs your sense of self-trust and keeps you motivated. 11. Reframe obstacles as data when not failures. Each obstacle is a data point for optimization. When you falter, ask, what does this tell me about my system? Perhaps your break reminders arrived too late, or your micro goals are still too large. Analyze, adapt, and iterate. This scientific mindset shifts your focus from self-criticism to continuous improvement, reinforcing persistence and resilience. 12. Anchor habits to emotional states. Link habits to feelings you want to cultivate. For example, before starting your work block, inhale deeply and think of calm confidence from section 1. Before movement, recall the joy of relief you experienced earlier. By tying habits to positive emotions, you create emotional anchors that make habit execution more appealing and memorable. 13. Batch similar habits. Group related habits into clusters to minimize context switching. For example, combine planning, purpose reaffirmation, and self-talk into a single morning ritual. Bundle learning, movement, and micro breaks into midday refreshers. Batch reflection, gratitude, and planning into your evening ritual. Batching reduces decision fatigue and makes it easier to sustain multiple practices. Maybe 14. Automate cues with technology-leveraged smart tools, calendar alerts, habit apps, voice assistant routines. To automate reminders, set up a single Start My Morning Routine voice command that cues your purpose question, priority review, and affirmation. Create a daily email summary of your reflection prompt and top learnings. Automating cues frees mental bandwidth and ensures you don't have to rely solely on memory. 15. Conduct weekly obstacle audits. Dedicate your Sunday reflection, section 9, to obstacle analysis. List every time you fell off track that week. Identify common patterns, late nights, context switches, overcommitment. Then plan targeted solutions. Adjust time blocks. Refine micro goals. Strengthen boundaries. This proactive audit prevents small issues from becoming entrenched. 16. Celebrate process, not just outcomes. When you honor a habit despite obstacles, celebrate it immediately. You don't need a perfect result, just recognize the process. A quick note to yourself, a fist pump, or a text to your accountability partner reinforces that perseverance is its own reward. Over time, persistence becomes synonymous with progress. By combining these tactics, reconnecting with purpose, scripting if-then plans, building buffers, and deploying self-compassion, you neutralize every common obstacle that stands between you and your goals. Setbacks become signals to adapt. Distractions become cues for your next move. And waning motivation becomes an invitation to reconnect with why you started. Now, identify the single obstacle you face most often. Whether it's hitting snooze, scrolling social feeds, or perfection paralysis, choose the tactic above that directly counters it, and commit to applying it in the next 24 hours. You've got the tools. Now use them to keep your momentum unstoppable. You've established purpose, planning, self-talk, action, completion, boundaries, learning, movement, reflection, persistence, integration, and obstacle strategies. Now it's time to measure your progress and keep growing. Tracking results isn't about obsessing over numbers. It's about gaining clarity on what's working, what needs tweaking, and how to adapt your system for sustainable momentum. By making measurement a habit, you transform vague intentions into concrete feedback, enabling continuous improvement. Every successful change process relies on feedback loops. You set a goal, take action, observe the outcome, and adjust your approach. Measuring progress creates those loops. Without data, you're navigating in the dark, guessing whether a habit is effective or stalled. With clear metrics, you see patterns, celebrate wins, and identify friction points. That insight keeps your habits alive and aligned with your evolving priorities. Start by choosing simple, meaningful metrics for each habit. For purpose, track the percentage of mornings you wake and record your focus question. For planning, note how often you complete your top 3 priorities by midday. For self-talk, count how many negative thoughts you caught and reframed per day. For action, log the number of times you used the 5-second rule. For completion, record microtasks finished. For boundaries, tally how often you said no to energy drainers. For learning, note one new insight captured. For movement, track movement snacks taken. For reflection, log how many days you reviewed what improved. For persistence, maintain your streak counts. Integrate these simple tallies into your unified dashboard from Section 11. Use a weekly summary sheet to visualize patterns. At the end of each week, review your dashboard and calculate rates. I woke with purpose 4 out of 5 mornings. Or, I completed my top priorities 80% of the time. Seeing percentages or raw counts gives precise feedback. Are some habits consistently strong? Celebrate those wins. Your system is working. Which habits lag? Investigate the reasons. Too many drainers. Unclear micro goals. Weak cues. When you identify lagging habits, apply the adaptation strategies from Section 12. Maybe your learning pockets coincide with peak work demands. Adjust the time. Maybe your reflection ritual clashes with family time. Reschedule or shorten it. Use your weekly metrics to guide these tweaks, ensuring you address real bottlenecks rather than chasing perfection blindly. Beyond individual habits, measure the compound effects on your life domains, work performance, relationships, health, and mindset. For work, track deliverables completed, feedback received, or time spent in deep focus versus reactive tasks. In relationships, note quality interactions or boundary-honoring conversations. For health, log consistent movement minutes and sleep quality. For mindset, gauge overall energy, stress levels, and confidence. Those holistic metrics reveal how your integrated habits ripple outward. Keep measurements simple to prevent overwhelm. A 1-page weekly review works better than 20 spreadsheets. A quick glance at color-coded checkboxes or a simple bar chart shows you where you stand. Use a habit tracking app or paper journal, whichever you're most likely to maintain. The key is consistency, not complexity. Use visualization tools to reinforce your progress. Plot a trend line for each habit. Rising curves encourage persistence. Flat lines signal a need for change. Color code your successes. Green for on track, yellow for needs attention, red for missed goals. And place this chart and where you'll see it daily. Visualization turns abstract data into tangible motivation. Set quarterly milestones to gauge deeper growth. Every 3 months, review your overall metrics and reflect on big picture questions. How has my energy management improved? How has my focus sharpened? How have my relationships evolved? Write a brief summary of lessons learned and adjustments to pursue in the next quarter. Those milestone reflections bridge short-term tracking with long-term vision. Incorporate peer reviews for accountability. Share your weekly summaries with a trusted friend or mentor. Ask for their observations. What patterns do you see? Where can I refine my approach? External perspectives often highlight blind spots. Their feedback becomes additional data you can integrate. Celebrate both quantitative and qualitative wins. Yes. Tick off those habit completions, but also note how you feel. More confident? Less frazzled? Clearer in decision-making? Those subjective metrics, captured in a simple mood or confidence journal, complement numerical data and give richness to your progress picture. When a habit shows sustained high performance, say purpose and planning, at 90% consistency, you may decide to shift that habit from active tracking to passive maintenance. Mark it as embedded and focus your measurement on less stabilized habits. This prioritization ensures you allocate attention where it's needed most. Use growth experiments to push your boundaries. Based on your data, pick one habit to amplify, double your learning time, increase movement snacks, or lengthen reflection. Set a 2-week experiment, measure outcomes, and track how this tweak affects other habits. Experiments keep your system dynamic and prevent plateau. Be vigilant for vanity metrics, data that feels good but yields little insight. For example, journaling word count means nothing if it doesn't translate into clearer thinking. Focus on metrics directly tied to outcomes, task completions, energy levels, decision quality, learning application. Quality trumps quantity. Integrate automatic tracking where possible. Use simple timers or tracker apps that log activities, movement counters, focus timer apps, or habit tracking widgets. Automation reduces friction, increases accuracy, and frees mental bandwidth for interpretation and adaptation. Turn your measurement process into a habit itself. Anchor your weekly review to a specific time, Sunday evening or Friday afternoon. Make it non-negotiable. When it becomes part of your ritual, your system sustains itself. You don't think about, should I review? You just do it. Share your monthly progress in a growth newsletter to yourself, an email or private document summarizing key metrics, lessons, and experiments. Over a year, you'll have a rich archive of progress, a resource for reflection and celebration. Revisiting old newsletters reminds you of how far you've come and recharges your motivation. Remember that measurement and adaptation form the heartbeat of continuous growth. Without timely feedback, habits drift off course and lose impact. With clear metrics and a commitment to iterate, your practices evolve alongside your life, ensuring you never stagnate. So open your dashboard now. Review this week's metrics. Identify one habit that's thriving and one that needs adjustment. Decide on one experiment or tweak to implement next week, then commit it to your plan. Tracking your progress and adapting your approach will keep your growth curve climbing today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Now, let's soften the pace. As your day winds down and the hum of activity fades, take a moment to rest your mind. You've come a long way, building 10 powerful habits that reshape how you live, work, and think. You've tracked your progress, celebrated wins, and learned how to adapt when challenges arise. You deserve to acknowledge this effort and gently ease into reflection. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel your chest rise and fall in a slow, soothing rhythm. Let each exhale release any lingering tension, the mental tattoos, the fragmented focus, the subtle anxieties that habit tracking can stir. In this calm space, remind yourself that you're not defined by perfection, but by persistence and progress. Picture your personal dashboard dimming gently, its bright indicators replaced by soft, warm light. You don't need data right now. Instead, feel the quiet pride of having done the work, day after day, of becoming someone who respects their time, nurtures their mind, and cares for their energy. Allow a sense of gratitude to wash over you. Gratitude for the insights you've gained, the momentum you've built, and the identity you're forging. Even small gains, an extra minute of movement, a reframed thought, a completed task, have laid the foundation for lasting change. Honor each one in this gentle state. Visualize your path forward, not with urgency, but with steady confidence. Know that tomorrow you'll wake with purpose again. Plan your day before the world distracts you. Speak to yourself with respect, and continue the cycle of growth you initiated today. As you drift toward rest, trust that your habits will guide you even when you're not consciously thinking about them. They've become woven into the fabric of who you are. Sleep deeply, rejuvenate fully, and wake ready to live these practices anew, because your growth is not a destination, but a lifelong journey.